Help you? But I am a nobleman. It is very uncommon for me to help commoners.
Carmen Sandiego is one of the biggest nostalgic things to be part of my life. I remember the cartoon, I remember the games, and I even barely remember the game show. Because I grew up during the 90s, my experience with the games has been rebooted. Meaning for me, the encyclopedia was in the games, and not a book bundled with them. Carmen Sandiego's Great Chase Through Time also aligns itself in this category. However, my experience with this game only came this year after finding it at a thrift store. My version of Carmen Sandiego's Great Chase Through Time was released in 1999 by the Learning Company. Previous versions were called Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego and was originally released in 1989 by Broiderbund Software. And the reboot in 1997 is basically the 1999 version with small differences. One thing that weirdly didn't change for my copy was the intro title screen with theme song, still toting the Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego theme and moniker.
We're on the case and we're chasing her through history. Where in time is Carmen Sandiego?
During the opening credits, Carmen and her gang break into Acme headquarters and steal a device called the Acme Chronoskimmer, a device that allows the user to travel to any point in time. Carmen drops off each of her henchmen across time on missions to influence key points in time. It is up to you to follow the time tunnels, capture all the henchmen, try to thwart Carmen's plans, and get the Chronoskimmer back in Acme's hands. This game embraces the point-and-click adventure genre way more than previous titles. There's inventory, dialogue trees, and no way to fail. When you go through time, you will have the assistance of Acme Good Guy, a person who is qualified for certain time periods. They're a history guide, a partner, and a hint line when stuck. Each level runs on a simple formula. Go to a time period, find out what's wrong, complete the tasks, and find all the pieces of the note from Carmen. Then, using the clues from the note, find and capture the thief. Depending on the task, some time periods might be finished faster than others. The difficulty comes in waves due to the variety of puzzles in each of the time periods. The difficulty will equal how much time is spent on a puzzle because it is impossible to fail a mission, unlike the previous games where failure is running out of time and has you try the mission again later. Another reason why a time period might take a while to complete is because of padding puzzles and repeated dialogue. For example, in 1493 you must travel across the Atlantic Ocean using the currents and the wind. Every time you move, your Acme Good Guy has something to say about the position of the boat or something that might pop up. Luckily, the spacebar can skip animations and dialogue, or if you enable it in the options, right mouse will do the same. But even when you learn that all that can be skipped now, you will have to travel across the ocean hoping you don't hit a dead end and have to travel back a square. This does teach you about how sailing across the Atlantic kind of works, but you have to do this from Spain to America and back to Spain. Thankfully, not all time periods have tasks that feel like padding. Yes, there's a bit of back and forth between areas, but that is common in the point-and-click genre. If you do come across a puzzle that's gotten you stuck, and talking to everyone, including your Acme Good Guy, doesn't seem to help, there is also an in-game Chronopedia, a book that has information on the time period you are in, as well as time periods you have previously visited. It is limited, so don't always count on the information you want being there. Of course, if you really get desperate, the booklet that came with the game has clues to every time period, some of which will have multiple clues to point you in the right direction, hoping you figure it out before they just tell you the answer. There are times when the game just wants you to give it your best shot, because they don't always want to give you the answer. For example, in feudal England, you must figure out which peasant job is the right one for the task. If you don't know who makes arrows, then you must give it your best shot until you get lucky. But as said before, there's little penalty for getting something wrong. All you have to do is try again. As you capture the time thieves, you will be promoted through 6 ranks by the chief.
For that, you deserve recognition. I'm promoting you to Time Scout. Now you've got something to scout about.
In total, there are 19 levels with about half on each disc. When you choose your game file in the start menu, you can choose any previous case you had completed to play again. When you want to save, you can do so at any time. When the chief asks you the oh-so-difficult question if you want to take another case, you can say no, and it will save and quit. Or if you are on a mission, you can go to the save menu at the top of the screen with a click and find the save option. Or you can hit the computer-specific shortcut keys. In the options menu, besides the standard sound options and the right mouse button option previously mentioned, there's an option for hearing impaired assistance which enables a special help feature for Beethoven's musical level. But I have not figured out how this exactly works. An added feature to the game was the customizer for teachers and parents to create a custom game. When you are on the case menu, hit Ctrl+C. This will allow you to create a template. First, name it. Then you can choose the levels you want to use. You can have a selection of one or more levels from the game. Then, when you want to make a game file that uses this template, click play while selecting the template, and then you can make a new case file. The visuals are quite the change from the 90s Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Where it once had cartoon characters on more realistic backgrounds, it now has cartoon characters on slightly wacky cartoon backgrounds. Sort of reminding me of Day of the Tentacle's visual style, but a little bit more muted in color. I don't know if I fully support this change, but in order to make the more creative areas, I suppose it had to be done. And I don't know if it's just me, but the animation seems to be not as good as Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I can't exactly point it out, but it might be in the smoothness of it. Most likely I feel this way because the characters are more static, while in Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, everyone moves around when you aren't talking to them. The audio is a bit of a mixed bag. In terms of voice acting, some characters are alright.
There's Murasaki Shikibu, who should be cooking up her famous novel, The Tale of Genji.
Some are slightly annoying.
Silverific! You scored a shred of the Carmen note!
And many of the period piece characters are stereotypical sounding, edging toward laughably bad.
To the king? Why didn't you say so? In that case, helping you would be my crowning glory.
This Norman Baron's voice is so laughable, it kind of sounds like Harold from the Day of the Tentacle.
Oh, ick! Now how did that mess get in there? I think I'm going to be sick.
And no matter where in time you go, beware of the pun-filled dialogue.
But at the moment, the Senior Senora looks royally upset.
But I can't go on without mentioning the Chief. She is the link between the game show and the games. She's one of the best people to consistently show up in these games, and I love it.
Congratulations! You clapped the cuffs on General Mayhem and put that big old Domesday book back on the shelf.
Otherwise, the sound effects and the background music are well done and fits the settings. Carmen Sandiego's Great Chase Through Time was an interesting change to the series. The linear path through time with little to no consequences is something that didn't feel entirely right, but I can see why they would go this route in this type of game. The challenge is to eventually get the right answer, and not outright fail, pushing you on to your next mission like other games in the series. The puzzles are varied enough so it doesn't grow old too fast. There's a lot of information spanning several time periods. The voice acting is a bit cheesy, but it's not entirely bad, and this is a Carmen Sandiego game, meaning it does hold a lot of quality. I would recommend this game to those who would want to know about a small bunch of key moments throughout time, and only after recommending that you play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego first. The game was released for Mac OS 7 2.9 and Windows 95 2XP. This means the compatibility might be an issue for newer systems without the help of a virtual machine. I use Microsoft Virtual PC running Windows 98, and I didn't have any issues. Carmen Sandiego's Great Chase Through Time goes for under $10 online, but if you want the older versions of Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego, they go for a bit more, around $20 and below. Links will be in the description. The recorded footage used is running on Microsoft Virtual PC using Windows 98. Thanks for watching. Any feedback on this video or any of my other videos would be appreciated. If you want to get in contact with me, message me on YouTube or Twitter. And if you want to see any of my previous work or my last reviews, click the links provided.